Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanak, Robert Paris, and John Vias, Peter Brown with the weather, and Chris Flaherty with the community calendar. Thank you for joining us. An accident that caused the evacuation of a Burlington restaurant was reminiscent of a 2019 tragedy in town and has caused concern among members of the Board of Health. At their most recent meeting, Burlington environmental engineer Christine Mathis said that on November 22nd, she and members of the Burlington Fire Department responded to a Tuscan kitchen after two chemicals were mixed and created a dangerous gas. Assistant Fire Chief Andrew Connerty told BNews that a bleach product and a lime product were mixed and created chlorine gas. One female employee was transported to the hospital, but fortunately only had an eye irritation. The mix happened when the two chemicals were poured down a drain which happened to be clogged, both Connerty and Mathis explained. The gas came up out of the drain and into the kitchen. The fire department ventilated the building with a large fan, and a hazmat team went in to read the levels of the gas before allowing anyone back inside. Mathis also advised the restaurant to call a mitigation company to fully clean the drain of the two cleaning products. Mathis said the incident was similar to what happened on November 7, 2019 at Buffalo Wild Wings when an employee applied two substances, Super 8 and Scale Clean, to the kitchen floor while attempting to clean it. The two substances reacted with one another, creating toxic fumes. In that case, manager Ryan Baldera, 32 of Lawrence, passed away after inhaling the gas while attempting to clean up the incident. Mathis said that because all vents in the kitchen were on and the problem was identified quickly, the Tuscan kitchen case fortunately did not have the same outcome. Board member David McSweeney asked if the health department could offer additional training to restaurants on the proper use of cleaning products and other chemicals. Mathis said there had been such training on how to safely use these products and read the warning labels, but indicated more could be offered in the future. The COVID-19 vaccines are in the final stages of being approved by the FDA and will soon be distributed to the states, but it won't be right away. On Wednesday, the Baker-Polito administration announced allocation and distribution plans for the final round of COVID-19 vaccine shipments to Massachusetts, set to begin around December 15th. The state's first shipment of 59,475 doses of the Pfizer vaccine was ordered from the federal government this past Friday and will be delivered directly to 21 hospitals across 8 counties, as well as the Department of Public Health Immunization Lab. Doses will then be distributed for access to 74 hospitals across all 14 counties for frontline medical workers. The next 40,000 doses of Pfizer vaccine will be allocated to the federal pharmacy program to begin vaccinating staff and residents of skilled nursing facilities, rest homes, and assisted living residences. Based on information at this time, Massachusetts is expecting 300,000 first doses of the vaccine to be delivered by the end of December. The first vaccines manufactured by Moderna and Pfizer will require 2 doses administered 3 to 4 weeks apart. In Phase 1, which will run from December through February, the priority will include healthcare workers, long-term care facilities, and rest homes, first responders, and congregate care settings. Phase 2, which will run from February through April, will prioritize people with comorbidities, meaning 2 or more underlying illnesses, frontline workers, and adults over 65 years of age. The general population will begin to be inoculated starting in April, according to the plan, though this schedule might be altered due to the number of factors, including production and distribution of the vaccine. Burlington is a well-known destination for holiday shopping. However, things look different this year due to the pandemic, obviously. BNews Director Rich Hosford spoke to Burlington Health Director Susan Luminello about the measures in place to keep holiday shoppers safe and healthy. He files this report.
With the Burlington Mall, Kohl's, Best Buy, Barnes & Noble, and 3rd Ave, among other locations, Burlington is known as a destination for holiday shopping. This year, due to the pandemic, shopping has changed. I spoke to Health Director Susan Luminello about how her department is working with retailers to help stop the spread of the COVID-19 virus.
with retail locations in different ways. The first way is to help them comply with the standards. So we get calls from retailers asking us to help them interpret the COVID standards. And then we also work with retailers if they have a positive case of COVID in their store and an employee. We help them do contact tracing and help them to determine who should be out on quarantine. And then we respond to complaints from the public. We get complaints from the public about a retailer. We will then investigate that and talk to the retailer about the complaint and what they can do to be in compliance.
There are also requirements for both shoppers and retail locations and ways to ensure that those requirements are locally enforced.
First of all, they should make sure that they wear facial coverings. That is required for all retail stores for both customers and employees. They should, if they have any question about occupancy, if they feel like a store is too crowded, they could bring that to our attention, and then we can go over it with the retailer. And distancing, so they want to make sure they follow the distancing guidelines that are set in stores. So retailers need to put into place floor markings and arrows, and customers should be aware of that and make sure they follow those floor markings and stay the 6 feet back and go in the correct directions that are outlined by the retailers.
On Tuesday, Governor Charlie Baker issued further restrictions and limits on both shoppers and retailers that go into effect this Sunday.
So as of December 13th, their retailers are going to have to scale back their occupancy from 50% to 40%, and food courts will no longer be allowed to be open.
In the Burlington Mall, each store is responsible for controlling the occupancy of its space, while the mall itself is responsible for overseeing total occupancy inside the building. And they have some high-tech ways of doing it.
Counting how many people are actually in the store. And the mall uses digital counters at the doorways, and they also use cell phone technology so that they can count the number of cell phones that are in the mall.
Due to the pandemic, holiday shopping has been slower this year than most.
Occupancy, the total occupancy number under the building code for the mall and for retail stores is pretty high to begin with. So then we have to take that number and then reduce that to 40%. So they have, the mall has told me that very rarely do they even get to their maximum occupancy. And they haven't been seeing numbers close to the 50% as of yet.
You still have a few weeks to get out and do some holiday shopping here in Burlington, knowing that measures are in place by both the state and the local Board of Health to try to keep everybody safe from the COVID-19 virus. Please wear a mask, stay socially distanced, and follow the guidelines so we can all have a safe holiday season. From Out and About in Burlington, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hosford.
Burlington High School senior and our own BNews sports reporter, Liz Gillespie, hit a milestone as a People Helping People volunteer. In June of Gillespie's sophomore year at BHS, she began volunteering at the food pantry every other weekend with her mother, Catherine. Recently, the SORT team leader, Larry Warfield of People Helping People Food Pantry, was proud to award Liz with a plaque and t-shirt for reaching 100 hours of volunteer service. He said 100 hours is quite an achievement for a student volunteer. The pandemic caused the food pantry volunteer effort to split into two teams, increase the frequency of volunteers to weekly, and split operations between St. Mark's Church and the food pantry. Gillespie and her mother willingly stepped up when other volunteers had to stop volunteering due to COVID. Liz said that once the pandemic started, there was almost no one going, and she and her mom were still healthy, so they decided that they'd be good people to keep going. They ended up spending every Saturday morning at the pantry. Liz has grown from a new volunteer to assuming greater responsibilities, learning multiple roles, and training new volunteers. All her experience, versatility, and leadership was recently tested when she was asked to lead a team of new volunteers in pantry operations. Liz plans to volunteer every Saturday at the food pantry until she goes off to college. She's looking at schools in Boston and in California. Either way, she plans to continue her volunteer service in the future. She said People Helping People is an incredible organization, as we all know, and encourages anyone who can to get involved. Liz is a longtime BCAT volunteer who anchors the weekly BNEWS Sports Report and hosts the monthly BNEWS Sports Hub, a show focusing on BHS athletics. An annual Burlington tradition, the Wish Tree, has returned to the mall by People Helping People for the 2020 holiday season, providing gifts and other necessities for families in need. BNews reporter John Vias went out to find out how the program is operating during the pandemic and has this report.
Of all the Christmas trees that go up in December, there's one that stands out on the second floor of the Burlington Mall. The Wish Tree is a holiday tradition held by People Helping People. Shoppers can choose a gift that'll be given to a child in need, making their holiday more merry and bright. No filming was allowed on mall property this year, but BNews caught up with People Helping People's president, Judy Walsh, at the Burlington Food Pantry to talk about the hard work that's put in by volunteers each year.
Some individuals choose children to adopt. Many companies in town adopt families or ask for 50 gifts to fulfill. And then we have the Wish Tree that's at Burlington Mall. The Wish Tree still is existing at the mall, but we have tried to limit the amount of contact with the customer and the volunteers. So all of the ornaments are pre-printed, and when they come back, they can hang the ornament on the tree, and then there's a card and a box that the volunteer attaches to the gift. Also, many companies are sending their gifts, so every day I get to see FedEx, UPS, and Amazon trucks leave many packages at my house, and then I have to transport them to where we sort the gifts.
Last year, People Helping People gave to 92 families with 192 children. This year so far has seen 82 families with 202 children that gifts will be provided for.
And each child gets 4 basic needs: underwear, sweatshirt, pajamas, and shoes. 3 wishes up to $40 each. They get hats and gloves and books. And this year, instead of Oracle doing a generic toy drive, the Burlington Girl Scouts, Brownies, and Daisy Troops are doing a generic toy drive for us.
And Wish Tree donations aren't just limited to the Burlington Mall, as gifts can also be dropped off at the Burlington Police Station.
And if you're not comfortable going to the mall, we have a sign-up genius that still has about 100 gifts that can be selected. We have about 90 that have been taken already. And you can either drop them off at the police station or at the mall. So people have been dropping things right at the Burlington Police Station. They've been extremely cooperative with us by allowing us to have bins there for people to drop off that don't feel comfortable to return items at the mall.
The holidays shine brighter each year when People Helping People treats those less fortunate to a Merry Christmas.
When the family comes to pick up the items, some of them give me hugs. They cry when they see some of the items their children are getting. And they said they couldn't have a Christmas without us. It's just extremely gratifying to all who work on the program with me.
This is John Vias for BNews Weekly.
Helping People is also running the annual Capitol Grill raffle for dinner. You can get tickets at their website, peoplehelpingpeople.org, or you can contact Janet at Sullivan Funeral Home to buy a couple of tickets, which would be greatly appreciated. As illustrated by our last story, the holiday season is a time of charity and goodwill, but sometimes it can be hard to know where and how to spread the joy with all the competing organizations, fund drives, and appeals for help, especially this year when everything has been impacted by COVID-19. We have put together a list of charity drives that are vetted and well known to actually support people locally and in good faith. These organizations have demonstrated over the years that they put your money and other donations to good use, so you can feel confident when supporting them. You can find the full list and links to their websites and social media pages on our website at bcattv.org/bnews. Local contractors, realtors, and interior designers Susan and Paul Cadillac, owners of Cadillac Homes, are bringing their expertise, talents, and sense of humor to a new reality home renovation TV show, Renovation Rekindle. BNews reporter Tad Stefnak went to talk with the couple about this new endeavor and has this look.
Burlington couple, Susan and Paul Cadillac, are constructing homes from the ground up and assembling their own media empire as they build toward starring in their own renovation reality show, Renovation Rekindle. Susan is a third-generation builder, having built her first house at the age of 23. Paul is a Burlington firefighter who is awesome, by the way.
What kind of firefighter are you again, Paul?
Awesome.
Thank you. I just want to clarify.
Paul fell in love with building when he fell in love with Susan.
I came over her house and she made me chicken parm, and I saw that she had a dump truck. So she brought me into her love of homes and houses, and I fell in love with it too.
Accomplished in real estate, construction, and interior design, Cadillac Homes has garnered quite a social media following.
You know, in building and renovating, we've been doing that for a long time. It just seems like there's more social media, more things being put out there, so we decided to start putting videos out. So we've been doing that for about 3 years now, and the whole thing just kind of evolved into what it is now.
That was not supposed to happen.
From doing the videos, we've had producers reach out to us about, you know, different things. So we're working with the local producer, Sean Baker Carter. He's done shows like he did Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. He did
The Red Sox show.
He did a Red Sox show.
Yeah.
So he's done other things locally. So in working with him, he's really been a big part in taking what we've been doing on social, which is a completely different format, and helping us figure out, okay, how does this turn into something that looks like a TV show? With the clients, with the process, showing more of the process, more of the work, and, you know, bigger version of what we've been doing for the last 3 years.
It's crazy though, because people watch us for a little while on social and then they'll feel like they know us.
Some of the biggest questions we get on social is, what is that tile? What is that paint color?
Right.
So, you know, so I think in putting more of the projects out there, we're finding, you know, people see it and it gives them ideas for their own house, and it helps inspire people with their own renovations. So that's, you know, part of what we're trying to share too.
We want to try to make the experience for them as best as we can, because it's a stressful process just in general. Your house is upside down, you're spending a ton of money, you get decision fatigue, you know, so Susan kind of holds them through that process of, you know, picking the stuff and guiding them in the right direction and kind of staying within their budget.
From COVID, I mean, it's definitely picked up because everybody's home, and they're not only just home, they also have to work at home, they're school at home, everybody's home 24/7, so now they're realizing I need more space, or, you know, my kitchen kind of annoyed me, but now I'm done with it. COVID has definitely made people realize
That they hate their house.
And we live in Burlington, so for the show, we're doing 10 episodes. 3 are brand new homes like this one. This is going to be one of them. And the rest are renovations for clients. I mean, you see a lot of renovations on TV and stuff from houses across the country that are maybe smaller, or, you know, they don't have basements. They're not like our houses. So I think people seeing other houses and say, wow, that house looks like mine. Oh, I can do that in my house. So I think it's, you know, it's really a lot of people can see what they can do with their houses that maybe they haven't thought of, and can inspire them to make their houses better.
Susan and Paul Cadillac of Cadillac Homes. New renovation reality show, Renovation Rekindle, can be seen on WCVB in the coming new year. From a Cadillac Homes job site, I'm BNews reporter Tad Stefanak.
Some of us non-handy types can sympathize with Paul for punching a hole in that toilet with the sledgehammer. Rabbi Susan Abramson of Temple Shalom Emeth has a one-person ceremony on the first night of Hanukkah with a new menorah gifted by a family who attends the temple. BNews Director Rich Hosford was at the ceremony and has this report.
Asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Hanukkah.
Thursday, December 10th marked the first night of Hanukkah in 2020. To celebrate the evening and commemorate the holiday, Rabbi Susan Abramson held a one-person ceremony in front of Temple Shalom Emeth using a new menorah recently gifted to the temple. I asked her about the significance of the 8-day holiday that is also called the Celebration of Lights.
The significance of the holiday is to remember the courage of the Maccabees, and that we have the ability to overcome our foes and to defeat any obstacles which may be put in our way. And just like the Maccabees had an uphill battle, literally and figuratively, against their oppressors in the 2nd century BCE, so we were able to overcome our foes, and so even today we think things are terrible, we've got all kinds of problems, but if we have faith and if we have courage, we can persevere and we can make life better for ourselves the way the Maccabees took it upon themselves to try to ameliorate their own situation.
Normally, Hanukkah is a time to celebrate with family and friends, but of course, like all things, is looking different this year. Rabbi Abramson said people should put safety over tradition when necessary so everyone has more celebrations in the future. He suggests people move celebrations online and says even things like the dreidel game can be played virtually.
Yeah, so we feel very, very strongly that people, above all, need to be safe. And it's a Jewish tradition that life comes above all else. So you can supersede any Jewish law practically in order to save a life. So we strongly encourage people to not get together this year in person. We strongly encourage people to stay at home and to just celebrate via Zoom, which is a wonderful tool for all of us, which will keep us all safe.
The centerpiece of the holiday is the menorah, with one light in the middle being used to light the others one night at a time. Rabbi Abramson said the menorah is meant to be displayed for the world to see as a symbol of Jewish religion and tradition.
And that's to publicize the miracle of the little jar of oil, and it's a sign of faith, to remind us of our faith in God, and it's also to remind us of the light that we shine to the world. That Jews are supposed to be called a light to the nations, to bring our values of goodness to the world, and so this is a symbol of that faith and those values, and that's why it's so important that we have. It's so wonderful that we have this Hanukkah menorah on temple property in front of the temple, so that our Jewish community is literally shining its light to the town of Burlington.
Finally, this new menorah was gifted to the temple by the same family who gave it the large dreidel, also on display in front of the temple.
I said one day I would love to have a menorah on the front lawn in front of the temple. So lo and behold, it was like a Hanukkah miracle. The next day, the same family presented me with this beautiful menorah, which they made in their garage. So I can't be more thankful that this, of all years, when we really need to be shining a light to the world, that this is the year when we're able to have this beautiful menorah.
From Temple Shalom Emeth, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hosford.
A business that assists the growing life sciences industry is eyeing a new Burlington location. According to a special permit application filed with the town's planning department, Azure Clean Rooms On Demand LLC is looking to move into 60 Blanchard Road. The application states that Azure Life is a science consulting and project management company who supports early phase, small scale life science industry manufacturers through its unique program of clean rooms on demand. The cover letter for the application states that this innovative program leases small clean room facilities and provides critical technical support designed to ensure that individual tenants adhere to applicable guidelines and regulations for product compliance during the manufacturing, control, storage, and distribution of their product. Azure operates facilities across the country and presently runs their clean rooms on demand in Waltham and wants to expand their operations into Burlington. This would require the retrofit of existing building to accommodate a series of individual laboratory tenant spaces, on-site chemical storage and management facilities, in addition to exterior facade improvements, loading bay access, and enhanced utilities to ensure uninterrupted power sources. The special permit hearing is scheduled to be before the Planning Board on Thursday, January 7th. The Burlington High School gymnastics team is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. To commemorate it, BNews reporter Robert Paris had a chance to speak with athletes and coaches from years past and has this look.
This year is the 50th anniversary of Burlington Boys High School gymnastics. And to commemorate that, we had a chance to talk to Coach Jordan Marino and some of the alumni, and we're going to take a look way back to the beginning of the 1970 season. What a milestone for BHS boys gymnastics. 50 years of excellence for many past and present athletes and coaches who participated in the sport at BHS. It wouldn't be what it is today without them.
Burlington High School Gymnastics, the boys program, started 1970, 1971, and has been running nonstop since then. And I came to the program when I was in 8th grade, where at the time assistant coach Rich Brzezinski, who was my phys ed instructor at the middle school, had introduced me to gymnastics through activity block. And so I became interested and came onto the team in 1998 as a freshman, and since then graduated out and coached.
I started on the program in 1970, the first team, 70-71. That team was filled with basically sophomores, juniors. There were no seniors on that team. So all of us were together for actually 71 and 72. Had a very unique experience. We had met Coach Hayes, but quite frankly, we were the first team to go into a meet-type situation. We had no idea what we were doing. We had never been to a meet, never been judged, never had anyone give us a score whatsoever. And lo and behold, we ended up winning the whole league. We went undefeated 2 years in a row and never lost a meet, which was, I still think, probably one of the few times that a first-year team in a league with 90 teams ended up winning the whole thing. So
The discipline, class, and team camaraderie that the team teaches its participants lasts beyond their years of high school.
My experience on the team, my 4 years on the team were unlike anything I had ever experienced. I had never been in any organized sports growing up as a kid, besides playing basketball, baseball with neighborhood friends. But to be in an organized sport in Burlington, specifically on the gymnastics team, was life-changing for me.
A couple of things that I really kind of took away from it was that it really wasn't about the wins and the losses, although certainly we won, but it was really about the experience that you had with some of the players. I'm still in contact with some of the first-year teams. Coach Hayes, I'm still in contact with him quite a bit. And those are the kind of things that you remember. And it's really about the building of character more than it's about the building of a team. Coach Hayes really instilled in us that we were more than just a team. We were really more of a style of a team that really kind of had themselves go forward and made themselves be better than where they started. So
it's been a great experience for me because I've stayed close to my alumni, and a lot of them are scholarship gymnasts from especially the early years, and we just really had a good run for gymnastics. It was a great experience for me, and I still keep in touch with a lot of great people.
With the season on the horizon, past and present members of the team were and are proud to be a part of the team at BHS as it celebrates its 50th.
The boys gymnastics program specifically has been a staple in this community for a very long time. And one of the introductions to the boys program was through the recreation department. Mr. Hayes started the rec program during the summer, and a lot of the boys and the boys teams became, their first jobs, including mine, was for the rec gymnastics program and coaching. And, these kids learn to love gymnastics, and when they finally get to the middle school or the high school, they can actually be part of it.
Burlington has kind of been the hallmark of the recreational program coming through and developing kids through that particular program. So there is a difference in the style in that, and when you look at the state championship part of it, it just kind of gives you a real good sense of pride as to the accomplishments that goes on there.
From the gymnastics room here at Burlington High School, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Sports.
We go now to BNews weatherman Peter Brown for a look at this week's forecast. We'll also check out the community calendar with Chris Flaherty to see what's happening in Burlington.
Well, hello everyone. This is Peter Brown with your weather for the next 7 days. Here we are, starting to go into the middle of December. It doesn't look like we're going to be having anything too crazy coming up in terms of weather. It looks like we are going to unfortunately be seeing maybe a chance of another weekend storm. However, it doesn't look like we're going to be having any chances of snow with this one. In fact, the Burlington area with the last big storm we had last weekend saw nearly 2 inches of rain, and thankfully not as nearly as much snow as a lot of the forecasters on the big networks in Boston said for us. So for those of us who don't really like the snow, that was some welcome news. And as we start our period on Friday, we're supposed to be seeing temperatures at this time of the year in the lower 40s, and we're going to best that by about 5 or 6 degrees, so it's going to be pleasant out there if you're out and about. As we round out the period getting into the December 17th time range, Our average highs at this time of the year should only be in the upper 30s, so the heart of winter is definitely on its way. I'm going to see temperatures pretty much at or a little bit above that as we head towards the end of the period, ahead of maybe another big storm for the end of next week. Now, of course, as we take a look at the length of day, you'll notice something very interesting here. The sun is not setting any earlier now. The sun is setting at the earliest that it does all year, so that's great news. Our mornings are going to keep getting a little bit darker till we get past Christmas or so, but we are looking ahead towards the days getting longer in a couple of weeks. So as we go ahead, let's take a look at what the Climate Prediction Center is calling for us here in the Burlington area in terms of temperatures and precipitation. And looking at our temperature map, it looks like they're predicting at or above average temperatures for us, and that's going to be reflected as we get into the weekend where we see some nice temperatures up into the mid-50s. Unfortunately, that's going to bring another good dose of rain with it. And again, as we go ahead and look at our precipitation chances, again, that's reflected there in that storm that may be coming here for the weekend. Above average precipitation, pretty likely for us here in the Burlington area. So let's go ahead and take a look at that 7 days of weather coming up. And again, starting out our period on Friday, it's going to be very pleasant out there. Temperatures in the upper 40s, so very nice if you're out and about. Again, on the weekend, looks like Saturday is going to be the better of the 2 days, a little bit more in the way of sun maybe earlier in the day. Temperatures getting up into the low to mid 50s before a rainstorm moves in as a big storm moves to our north and west, and that's pretty much going to wash out our Sunday, again with temperatures fairly mild though for this time of the year. Now behind that storm, it's going to drag in some pretty cold air, similar to like what we saw in last week. Temperatures down into the mid 30s for the middle portion of the week, and then rebounding up into the lower 40s as we get towards Thursday, ahead of what might be another pretty big rainstorm coming for the end of next week. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
Are you getting ready to deck the halls? Are your decorations the talk of the neighborhood during the holidays? We want to see your holiday lights display. They can be part of our special Holiday Light Showcase program, premiering on BCAT this December. You could be on BCAT. If you want to take part in our Holiday Light Showcase, email us at bcat@bcattv.org or call us at 781-273-5922. On behalf of all of us at BCAT, we want to wish you a safe and happy holiday season.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Flaherty with your community calendar, filling in for Jolie Atwood, who was out this week. Come and learn about this fascinating creature. On Wednesday, December 16th at 7 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having a virtual event called Winter Backyard Birds. Everyone is welcome to attend virtually, but pre-registration is required. Go to the public library website at burlington.org or call Marnie at 781-505-4985. He's the big man in the red suit. On Thursday, December 17th, the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department will be offering free socially distant photos with Santa. Everyone is welcome and pre-registration is required. For more information and to register, go to burlingtonrecreation.org or call 781-270-1695. Get in the spirit by helping the Sculpture Park. The Burlington Sculpture Park has assembled a wonderful collection of gifts just in time for holiday shopping. To see what they are offering, go to burlingtonsculpturepark.org/donations and rewards. I'm Chris Flaherty, and this has been your Community Calendar.
Another week, another photo to highlight. This week's photo is bringing vibes of the holiday season and the reality of winter. It was sent in by Laurie Vianu, and forgive me if I blundered on that pronunciation, and shows the Burlington Town Common during Saturday evening's snowstorm. It's a beautiful picture, but also makes us crave some hot chocolate. Thanks for the photo, Laurie. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of your holiday activities, a family trip, or just everyday moments, whatever you think is interesting and want to share with us and the community. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. That's it from the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNews Director Rich Hosford, BNews reporters Tad Stefanak, Chris Flaherty, Robert Paris, John Vias, Peter Brown with the weather, and Chris Flaherty with the community calendar. Thank you for joining us.